Yeah, old Santa is making a list, checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Unfortunately, so is the Biden Justice Department. They managed to overlook certain things for the naughty list. Like, for instance, you guys may or may not be aware of this, but the lead sponsor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month is also the producer of the only FDA approved treatment, tamoxifen citrate, also known as Nolvadex, for breast cancer. And one further, they're also the leading industrial producer of organochlorines on the planet. Organochlorines, which cause, you guessed it, breast cancer. So it should come as no surprise that Pfizer Pharmaceuticals, being lauded here by new media shill Jim Cramer, announced this week that they will be acquiring drug developer Arena Pharmaceuticals for $6.7 billion. What does Arena produce pharmaceuticals to control? You guessed it, cardiac related conditions like myocarditis and pericarditis, which also happen to be the leading side effect of the Pfizer vaccines, as documented by the CDC, even. That's right, boys and girls. The narrative is falling apart, but they keep pushing it. In fact, they keep assuring us that nearly 4 in 10 Americans say that they will continue to take precautions to guard against the risks of COVID 19, which is a roundabout way of saying that over 6 in 10 are sick of their bullshit. But you still want to stay off the naughty list, boys and girls, because never forget, unlike Santa, they might come knocking at your door looking like this. And as the caption says, it's dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and no one else's on the planet. Not friends, not foes, not supporters, not detractors, not sponsors, and certainly not employers. They have been adjudicated thought crime in all jurisdictions. Consider yourself warned. They are coming from the heart, they are guided by the mind, and they are guaranteed to choke you with a big, fat dose of the truth cock. Welcome back, boys and girls. It is time once again for the Sunday sermon. Let's hope the Wi-Fi booster holds. Appreciate everybody who showed up early. We're going to do the roll call right here in a bit. Let me see where the fire is, boys and girls. Everybody in for the drum roll. Yes. Coming hard, charging right out of the starting gate, as always, with the ever-popular bumper music from Red Deserts. Little kick-ass rock and roll band from the smoldering embers of the once great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The name of the track is Older No Wiser, because every week I do this, I get a little bit older, and every week you guys get to decide if I've gotten any wiser. Some weeks I do better than others. Want to wish a merry late Christmas to everyone who has not been similarly greeted in the free world. I have my dearest Oksana on board right out of there. Sergey loves you too, my darling. Little Miss Emmy, oh my God, man, what you and I did, that was the most amazing gift ever. I will brief everybody on it. Let me go through the roll call real quick. I got to go on about that one for a minute. Oh, man, we got Joey, the Sultan of Sarcasm, Joel Allen Jackson, Brother Ryan on board, still making me work for it. Although, man, that was a good call. That was definitely a good call in this week's Rabbit Hole. Mr. Wright, sup, kiddies? You got the fucking Rona. It's all right, man. It's the Omicron variant. Nobody dies from that shit. Well, one guy, maybe. Anyway. Who else is on board, man? We got Roman from Opium Tales, Brother Wayne Sharp. Know me all the way back from my high school days when I was just a low-level radical. Yeah, man, it's always kind of nice. So we got Roman and his lovely wife, Carrie, on board from opiumtales.com. Everybody showed up early. Brother Oz. Merry Christmas, Oz, man. David on board. Good to see you, man. Happy that your wrist is recovered and you're back out in the world of the working. I know that downtime had to have been driving you fucking nuts. But you took the proper time to heal. Way to have you back in and back after it. Bodie on board once again. How are we doing, man? Good to see you. Brother John Goldsmith, man, that visit last night meant the world. Thank you for coming by and seeing me while I was still in the spoke. Made it back in one piece. Got a little bit of snow coming over the pass just before getting back to the temporary hometown, but we managed to get through it. We're all right. And Hellfire, man, I'm driving a Subaru, so I really don't have to worry about this shit. Yes, you heard me. I am part of the official Northwest cult of Subaru. It started as a tribe of lesbians in the hinterlands outside of Bend, Oregon, like up in the mountains, and it's just sort of take it and run with it, man. Do what you got to do. I got nothing. In fact, one of these Sundays we are going to go because I did do some homework, and we're going to do a little rabbit hole on the origins of that whole thing about Subaru being a lesbian wagon. It's really interesting how that whole trope uh, came about. But anyway, man, good to have all you guys on board early. Got some good stuff to cover today. I'm going to try to keep it upbeat, man. I've had a fairly good Christmas, and I'm hoping that all y'all did the same. Um, Again, just outstanding time with good friends and just an absolute mind blowing gift from Miss Emmy and her amazing husband, Mike. Man, wow. If you guys saw it, it was, I don't have the photo to post here, but you guys can find it on my personal page. And I'll post it to my fan page here in a little bit. But the gentleman put together an amazing piece of woodwork. You guys, again, if you're friends with me on my if you guys are friends with me on my actual personal page, you will have already seen it. No, I do not have that photo posted. God damn it. I wanted to be able to pull that up. It'll be posted to the fan page shortly after I get off here with the sermon. But it is this amazing, like huge wall size plaque with all of the Reverend's prime directives in Viking runes. Yeah, I mean, just like it burned into wood with like this really super elaborate Celtic slash Nordic knotwork going on. It's an amazing piece of handicraft, and like thank you so much for that. I'm so humbled by that gift. I'm getting a little indicator here that we might be having some difficulty with the Wi-Fi. If for whatever reason it cuts out, you guys stay close. I will be right back. I'm going to try to keep things like parsed. I'm going to try to keep things parsed, but it's looking like we may fade out. If it does, man, just hang tight. I'm going to be right back. G-Dub, good to have you on board. Last little bit of the roll call. Let me make sure that we are getting through. I'm going to try to redo this connection real quick before we get any further into it. I want to make sure. And we're back. Cool. It may drop out again, man. We're doing the best we can with the booster. We got through it all last week, but sketchy kind of connection. So I'm going to try to pace things, and if it fades out again, guys, just thank you for your patience and stay close. First thing I want to knock out, just a couple of sponsor shout outs, as always, to my dear friend Roman and his lovely bride Carrie, and to Roxy and Allie and all the beautiful women at opiumtales.com. They are the erotic pinups and portraits people. You can check them out online at opiumtales.com. No longer on the Twitter platform because Jack Boots Dorsey has booted him, the irony of which one day I am dying to make readily apparent to you. But yeah, you can still check them out on opiumtales.com, and you should. Some amazing artwork with some very, very beautiful naked women and some testosterone driven commentary. Beautiful naked women, testosterone driven commentary. You guys know I'm all about that. Plus, Roman is one of my oldest and dearest friends. So go check them out at opiumtales.com. And a special shout out to my Viking brothers at Nordic Smoke Barbecue, Casey and Dusty Tellison. First of all, if you haven't gotten Casey's book, Casey's Marine Combat Vet, Machine Gunner, Freaks of a Feather. He has gotten accolades from as high up as Mad Dog fucking Mattis. Not even making that up, because Mattis is also from the Northwest and a Marine combat vet. He got to sit and have dinner with Mad Dog Mattis. He's getting all kinds of accolades for that book, and he deserves every goddamn inch of it, man. I was lucky enough to see one of the earliest manuscripts of that as it was progressing, and the man's got a gift. Anyway, that is Casey. Get his book, Freaks of a Feather, from Late Top Press out of Spokane, Washington. It's available on Amazon, and I believe there's a Kindle edition available as well. But many thanks to Casey and to Dusty, my Viking brothers from Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the Inland Northwest. And they did 2 Christmas birds for me this year. No, they always do the Thanksgiving bird. Every year since I've been in the Northwest, they did 2 Christmas birds for me this year. I think we had just gotten into the second bird when I left to come back here. And if Aaron is on board, he has probably discovered this morning that I absconded with both breasts off of that second bird in a nice little Rubbermaid plastic container before I left the bunker in Spokane this morning. It was just kind of like, he likes to dart me better anyway. Fuck it. And the breast sort of came with me. So down here. But anyway, thanks again to Casey and Dusty Tellison, my Viking brothers from Nordic Smoke Barbecue. Get their product. Check them out online. They have the sauces in the process of being bottled right now. They have merch. Go check them out. Give them your money. Very, very simple. Not a whole lot complicated with that. All right. So we are going to kick off the program with the ever popular Ryan's Rabbit Hole. Let's get the applause effect. I haven't quite gotten the soundboard thing down yet, but we're working with that so I can have a whole board of sound effects over here that I can just reach over and click whenever I need to drop in something like applause or whatever. But we're going to jump into, right out of the starting gate, we're going to jump into Ryan's Rabbit Hole. Now, you guys know that my bro Ryan is entirely responsible for getting me into the crane business. And you guys know that beyond all the commentary at the end of the day, I'm just a fucking crane operator with some opinions. Ryan is the guy that made that journey possible. He is also the prime minister of the obscure and the esoteric. It's always cool hanging out and having him throw stuff out. Ryan, you do continue to make me work for it, motherfucker. But Ephraim Matos is going to be the rabbit hole for this week. Sometimes we go with historical, sometimes we go with philosophical, sometimes we go with esoteric. Sometimes, as of last week, we went conspiratorial. Here, we're going with just a badass individual, Ephraim Matos. He is from the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He is a former Navy SEAL and combat vet. You guys can do all the biographical research on that you want. All you really need to know about the guy is that he's got a solid moral compass and he walks it the way he talks it. And he is along the lines, if you could think of it, Eric Prince, formerly known as Blackwater, was the first guy to really privatize war. In fact, I remember reading in one of the obscure journals way back in the day, privatizing war. He was one of the first military contractors. Well, Ephraim Matos did not privatize it. He's not a for-profit organization doing things for the government. He founded a private organization known as Stronghold Rescue and Relief, funded largely by private donors, some of which I'm sure are going to be money corporate types who are just trying to do the right thing without having their fingerprints on doing the right thing, because doing the right thing these days will get sold to the public as the wrong thing, and it will tend to implicate people simply because there are people like Ephraim Matos that understand that certain shit has to get done. Rescuing children from war zones, rescuing at-risk populations who are being terrorized, and he has gone into areas of operation everywhere from Venezuela, where he was in on what they tried to portray as an attempted coup, which by legal definitions, yeah, okay, but a lot of times that is simply doing what needs to be done when a government organization can't have their fucking fingerprints on it, because let's face it, that motherfucker needed to go. Um, the attempt did not come through, but he has operated in Afghanistan. He's operated in Burma, which Myanmar. Yeah, okay, still fucking Burma, but he's operated in Colombia. He's operated all over South America. He's operated in Iraq. He has gone into some of the most dangerous places on the planet to do the right thing, things that needed to be done, protecting the fucking vulnerable. Which, again, it's not the motto of the SEALs. De oppresso liber is not the motto of the SEALs. That's a motto for special forces, but to liberate the oppressed. He has lived that ethic, even though he is not a Green Beret. He's a former SEAL. He has gone in and taken care of business when business needed to be fucking taken care of. Now, you guys know that I am of the opinion that this is the way things need to be handled now. The days of large armies fighting continental land wars are largely over. You still need to provide a contingency for that should it become necessary. China, or something like that. You still got to provide a contingency for that. But most of these wars are just a case of taking out the right bad people at the right time to protect vulnerable populations that need to be fucking protected. I'll give you an example outside of Ephraim Matos, something that Eric Prince did back when the Darfur crisis was going on in the Sudan, and George Clooney was the Hollywood wonder boy who was, we've got to protect the population in Darfur, and the Janjaweed militias are going in and they're killing these people. And Eric Prince called this motherfucker's agent. Eric Prince, founder of formerly Blackwater, called George Clooney's representatives and agents and said, look, man, I will put together an operation. You want me to go in there and protect these civilian populations? You show me a way to get the money together, and I will go in and I will shut this shit down. We will protect the populations that you call vulnerable. Guess what? Clooney never fucking called him back. Why? Because Eric fucking Prince. Leftists want their shit done their way, and they live in that fantasy world where it can be done in that context. And people like Eric Prince, and more to the point, because of today's rabbit hole, people like Ephraim Matos understand that you cannot play within the rule book when you are dealing with savages, predatory miscreants, scumbags that want you dead. You cannot play you cannot play within that rule set. So he's put it on the line again. Ephraim Matos, and you can look up his organization, strongholdrescue.org. And he is today's Ryan's Rabbit Hole. So let's give a big round of applause for Ryan one more time for sending us down yet another thing that's going to expand our worldview a little bit. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ryan. And now let's get on to the events of the week. Again, we're going to keep it fairly upbeat this week. There's some negative shit going on, but I'm in a fairly good mood after the holidays. And hopefully you guys are having similar wonderful holidays surrounded with your families and not giving a fuck what Father Fauci and the Church of Fear have to say about whether or not you are allowed to spend time with your family, or whether or not you should be, which of course we could go on that tear. Instead, I'm going to have a little sip of liquid enthusiasm, and we're just going to roll right on. Thank you very much. Keeping the pipes lubricated. That joke writes itself. Go ahead, Ryan. Anyway, nobody gave a fuck about the directives, and everybody hopefully enjoyed the and Emmy. Yeah, that's right. I did mean to point that out. Mike is also a Marine combat vet. He does have a copy of Casey's book, doesn't he? He does have a copy. Because I would be interested to hear what he thought of it. I got lost. Oh my goodness. I took a little trip down Tangent Street. Okay, let's get off of that. All right, we're back. Everybody ignored the directives from the CDC and the WHO and everybody else who said don't have holidays with your unvaxxed family and don't invite your unvaxxed family members. And no, it's not okay. First of all, man, I have never once asked the government for permission to do a goddamn thing over Christmas. So eat a fat sack of dicks. Hopefully, everybody got wonderful gifts in their stockings and everybody left Fauci a lump of coal. All right. First event of the week, we're going to cover from the holy fuck, how does this man have the nuclear codes department? And it is kind of tied in with the nuclear codes. You know, every year, NORAD, NORAD, Strategic Air Command, North American Air Defense Command, a leftover remnant from the Cold War when, you know, it was anticipated that any day now a slew of Russian missiles was going to be coming over the horizon. Anyway, NORAD is sort of a Cold War relic, but they're necessary. And every year, just to keep themselves on the radar, and also as a PR thing, it's kind of cool. They use the North American Air Defense Command radar to do a Santa tracker, you know, just a little something for the kids. And this year, Mr. 81 million votes, Mr. Totally Coherent, Mr. Most Popularly Elected President in U.S. history, decided that he and his supposedly a doctor wife, we're going to get on the couch and take some calls from some private citizens who were calling in watching the NORAD Santa tracker system. And at some point, this happened.
Yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree. Hey, by the way, where are you in Oregon?
Let's go, Brandon, and our 100% cogent, coherent, on-the-spot president, in spite of 2 brain aneurysm surgeries. Let's go, Brandon. I agree. And the wife laughing right along with him, totally, completely slid it by him. Now, of course, this is a fun little joke. Is it a juvenile prank? Of course it is. Does the guy that pulled this off have the maturity level of a 7-year-old? Of course he does. It's basically the adult equivalent of going, nah, president, you know, I mean, you know, but fuck, man, we dealt with that for 4 years. And I'm going to say that this is a lot less threatening than, say, I don't know, a has-been comedian holding up a severed head that would resemble Biden's. So you got that going on, which is nice. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. I'm not going to get caught up in all the social media chaos around it. I thought it was a funny moment. And if you don't, fine, don't laugh at it. But can we stop acting like some innocuous juvenile prank like that is some existential threat to democracy? Because clearly it is fucking not. Okay, we're going to move on to our next bullet point, which is coming from the careful what you wish for / how could you not have seen this coming department. This, according to the New York Post, two Democratic lawmakers who have strongly supported police reform, including bail reform, no cash bail, defund the police. 2 of them were carjacked less than 24 hours apart in major U.S. metropolitan areas, where we tried to tell them, you defund the police, the savages are going to run wild. Well, they didn't buy it. Yes. So let me see. First one was Senator Kimberly Lightford, who was a Democrat from Maywood. She was targeted in suburban Chicago. And Congresswoman Mary Kay Scannion, Democrat from Pennsylvania, was carjacked Wednesday afternoon after an event in South Philly. Wow. Okay, white lady in South Philly. Couldn't have seen that coming. Now, I will give partial credit to Kimberly Lightford because Black woman in Chicago, her and her old man were both fucking strapped, and in the middle of the carjacking attempt, he slid the keys over to draw the carjacker's attention away, exited the passenger side of the vehicle, and opened fire on these fucking scumbags. Now, I don't know whether he hit anybody. He didn't get hit. The senator didn't get hit. But again, state senator, not national senator. Let me clear that up. Illinois state senator. She didn't get hit. He didn't get hit. I don't know if any of the suspects got hit. I do know that all 4 were arrested shortly after, because it's amazing it's amazing how police response times in Chicago increase in direct proportion to the political importance of the person who just got fucking carjacked. But I will give her partial credit for at least going strapped and knowing where she fucking lives. It would have been nice if she could have extended that courtesy to the rest of Chicago's citizens, because she's also been predictably also been a strong advocate for tighter gun laws. Laws for thee, not for me, and the cops will perform for me. You don't need guns because the cops will protect you. Oh, well, because that's how quick the cops protected you, cunt. Sorry, went down Tangent Street again. And again, Congresswoman Mary Kay Stanion, Democrat from Pennsylvania, carjacked Wednesday afternoon after an event in South Philadelphia. Both of these people have been strong advocates for gun control laws. To Stanion's credit, she was not armed. She was targeted by two armed men that just demanded she hand over her keys, and she did just that, as she probably should have, being a tiny little white woman in South Philly who has a gun in her fucking face. Again, careful what you wish for. How could you not have seen this coming? They have advocated for police reform, including zero cash bail and defunding police departments, and now the two of them becoming victims of carjackings within 24 hours of each other. Again, we all knew it was coming, and watching it play out, don't expect an apology or policy changes from either one of these fucking people. And certainly don't expect their media mouthpieces and propaganda wing to acknowledge the absurdity and hypocrisy of it all. We know it's not going to happen. It's just nice when it plays out like this, and those of us who still have brain cells to rub together can rub those brain cells together and say, fucking told you so. We're winning, people. We're winning. In the court of public opinion, we will continue to win when shit like this happens, and even their own constituents have to look at it, especially Lightford. Especially Lightford. She's in fucking Chicago. And the police got there minutes after she was carjacked, and her old man didn't go to jail for packing a fucking gun. Her constituents are sitting here looking at this going, how the fuck? Right? Like, Scannon in South Philly. First of all, skinny white lady in South Philly, what the fuck are you doing there? But her constituents are seeing it's like, oh, wow. So these neighborhoods really are, certain areas certainly are more dangerous than others. And that crime statistics aren't outweighed by anecdotal evidence and emotional arguments. That maybe a skinny little white woman has no business in that fucking part of town and can fully expect to get fucking carjacked. Oh, and lo and behold, we can't have guns because the cops are going to be there to protect us. You're a fucking congresswoman and you just got carjacked. Again, in the media, it will play out one way. In the court of public opinion, because the media's narrative is falling apart, it is going to play out completely different. And every time somebody falls off the fence, guess which side of the fence they fall off onto. So while I am thankful that no one got hurt, and while you never really want to rejoice in somebody's misfortune, if you've ever had a gun in your face, that's not something you would really, let me parse my words here. You would be very, very judicious in who you would wish such a thing upon. But again, thankfully no one was hurt, but it's really, really hard to feel bad for these people. It really is. Because, fuck you. You had it coming. This is what you want. This is what you get. This is what you want. This is what you get. Somebody cue that Public Image Limited song up for me. All right, moving on to the next bullet point. Justice is served, but shut the fuck up, department. Ex-police officer Kim Potter found guilty this week, 2 counts of manslaughter for fatally shooting Dante Wright. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've said it before. I'm going to express a couple of very unpopular opinions here. There was a similar case in Oklahoma a couple of years ago. James Pearson, I see that you're on board. Maybe you can point out the specific name because it's escaping me right now, where a female police officer was involved in an incident where there was a questionably potentially dangerous suspect still in his car with the window down. She drew her gun, She had two male officers standing immediately next to her who did not fucking fire. But being a panicked little woman who never should have been on fucking patrol detail in the first place, two officers next to her with their guns drawn, neither one of them fired. She unloaded on the fucking suspect, and guess what? She got put on trial, and last I heard, got found guilty. Okay, good. Justice served, system fucking worked. Where Kim Potter is concerned, again, same thing. You don't pump several bullets into a suspect. Granted, had she been in front of the car, could have made a better case that she was in fear for her life, but because of her proximity to the vehicle and him not presenting a direct threat, blah, 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 she went and dumped, 4 or 5 shots into this young man, and then immediately afterwards start screaming, taser, taser, taser. She meant to hit him with the taser. Instead, she dumped lead into his ass. Now, Officer Potter, you fucked up. You got to own it, okay? There are a ton of women, some of whom are in my family, some of whom are very close to me, who are suited for frontline detail. As a general rule, and I'm going to say this, they are not. In the same way that I will own for myself, as a general rule, people with my personality type are not necessarily suited to be the guys who are suits and boots out on fucking patrol. Oh, right. Okay, good. Thank you for clearing that up. James Pearson, my LEO brethren, multiple taser mistakes the last few years, not unique to this. I agree. And that is a training failure. That is a training failure on the part of the departments in question. Anyway, regardless of any of this, the verdict was correct. She fucked up. All right. Again, and another problem with the training in these departments is that they have lowered the standards to be more inclusive to female officers. Any woman who can make the cut and be out there and serve on the front line as a law enforcement officer has got not only my blessing, but my fucking reverence. Okay. I will refer directly to a woman who is my mother-in-law and a woman who is my sister-in-law in working for a department in Texas. I'm not going to call out any names, but they were fantastic and they were fucking exemplary. And they had more balls than most of the male law enforcement officers that I know. And something like this, because they paid attention to their own training, would never have happened to either one of them. If you can make that cut, you have not only my support, but you have my fucking reverence. But if you are out there dealing with the lower standards, and that is why you were out there on the front line where you have no business and people die as a result of it, guess what? You got to own it. You got to pay the price. If I train and certified you, I own part of your actions from now on. Right on, James. And we, and they need to look into that. Okay, so that's the first half. That's the justice served part of the equation. Now we're going to jump into the but shut the fuck up part of the equation. Kim Potter was found guilty. She should have been found guilty, and she will go to prison, and she fucking should. I want to be unequivocal in that. That may be an unpopular opinion, as is my opinion on the general nature of females in law enforcement, at least in patrol details. It's an unpopular opinion, but there it is, and I own it. However, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison on the Kim Potter conviction. And you know what? I'm not going to give him the 54 seconds. Fuck. You know what? I will, just to let you hear it.
On
This
who
piece
Dante
of shit.
could have. At this moment, I ask us all to reflect upon the life of Dante Wright and who he could have been had he had a chance to grow up.
Boy, doesn't that tug at the heartstrings. Attorney General from Minnesota, Attorney General Keith Ellison, speaking up and talking about, wow, we all need to reflect on what Dante could have been if he'd had a chance to grow up. First of all, I'm going to consider the source. This is Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison posing with a copy of the Antifa manual. This is the same guy that not only supported but encouraged the riots that took place in the once great city of Minneapolis, Minnesota last year in the wake of the George Floyd verdict. And this, since we're on Attorney General Ellison himself, this is Karen Monahan, his girlfriend, after Attorney General Ellison beat the fuck out of her. This is one of the police photos that was taken after he lit her up like fucking Christmas. And this is the least graphic photo that I had to post. So let's just go and consider the source and for the shut the fuck up department. But moving beyond that to Attorney General Keith Ellison, let's get into his words exactly. We can make the ad hominem argument, but it's low hanging fruit. Let's go a little bit beyond that to his words exactly. Let's reflect on what Dante Wright could have been. Let me tell you what Dante Wright could have been had he continued to go on. This punk miscreant piece of shit held a woman at gunpoint. He shot a kid in the face, and that's just the start of a multiple violent felony rap sheet as long as a fucking porn star's cock. And that's on an 8.5 by 11 double print, small margin. Anyway, you guys get the picture, right? What he could have been. Let me tell you what he could have been. He could have been a fucking murderer. Given Ellison's and prosecutors like him, prosecutors under him as an attorney general, let me tell you what Dante Wright could have been. Dante Wright could have been a multiple rapist, a multiple violent felon, and likely a fucking murderer. That's where Dante Wright was headed, okay? Kim Potter fucked up, and she will serve the time for that. But don't get it twisted, okay? Dante Wright is dead, and it's not like the world lost a fucking cancer cure. So can we stop making heroes out of scumbags? See also George fucking Floyd. There's an unpopular opinion. Did Chauvin fuck up? We've already been over that on this program ad nauseum about Chauvin and that trial and everything associated with it. System worked. Somebody's going to prison, but shut the fuck up. Stop making heroes out of scumbags, Dante Wright included. Kim Potter will go to prison for shooting this motherfucker. All right? But had she not come along, let's not act like he was suddenly going to find reform. He was going to continue to be turned loose with little or no bail, like the scumbag that plowed through a Christmas parade in fucking Waukesha, Wisconsin. The media is no longer talking about that one either. He was going to continue without consequences until eventually someone fucking died. So yeah, system worked, but shut the fuck up. Potter's going to prison. Dante Wright is dead. As far as I'm concerned, that's two Vietnamese guys. It's a win-win. See what I did there? Yeah, Bart, that's racist as fuck. Well, fuck off, man. Get a sense of humor. All right, so those are the bullet points that I wanted to cover. Yeah. Get another little sip of liquid enthusiasm. I'm starting to get a little ahead of myself. We're about 40 minutes in, and I've still got some things that I want to get into here. I want to cover. Let me see. Just a few more years, and he would have challenged Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's fucking brilliant. Unpopular depends on the audience. I've got no issue with yours. Thank you very much, Brother James. Always good to have you on board. Always good to have you on board. And apparently George Williams also on board. Yeah, repeat offender is what he would have been. Yeah, I think, look, man, we can all agree on that. And again, system worked. System worked. The systemic racism of American policing, blah, 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 blah. She's going to prison. She's going to fucking prison. Okay? He was in the process of committing a violent act when he got fucking shot. All right? He wasn't an innocent victim. He was a partial participant. Doesn't justify how he fucking died, and she's going to prison for that. The system worked. But stop trying to deify this motherfucker. Please. Could we? Nancy Pelosi spent a nice little moral lecture on us a couple of years ago about how, there's a spark of divinity in every human soul. And she was talking about the baby raping scumbags from MS-13. No, not every human soul has a spark of divinity. Most people, another unpopular opinion, most people walking the planet right now, and I'm sure if you asked the right people, they, myself included, are only alive because it's against the law to fucking kill them. Sorry, but there it is. Anyway, all of the bullet points. So let's get back into what we talked about at the start of the program and a little bit about media framing. Again, the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The leading sponsor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a pharmaceutical company called AstraZeneca. Now, I'm sure you guys have probably heard of AstraZeneca. They don't have as big a legal settlement profile as, say, Pfizer, but they have paid out their fair share of settlements and paid out their fair share of liability claims and had their fair share of recalls and been responsible for their fair share of late night lawyer ads going, were you injured by this medication? You may be entitled to financial compensation. Please contact the law firm of Arkham, and Araman. We will work for you. Yeah. So again, this is the revolving door of the industry, and this is part of the COVID narrative that a lot of people don't want to get into. Effectiveness or lack of effectiveness of the vaccine aside, the fallback plan always seems to be, what do they have to gain from it? Billions of fucking dollars is what they have to gain for it. Have you seen their stock portfolio lately? I actually saw on one of the Sunday talk shows, someone trying to dispel the quote unquote conspiracy theories about COVID. They tried to dispel the profit motivation for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals. They try to say that it's, it's a conspiracy to make money for Pfizer, but all the vaccines are free. I had to take a moment, collect myself, pick up my jaw. And then I had to do the Reverend Bart gravity check. All of you guys out there, my Reverends Rangers, my Prophets of Doom, my Cinder Sisters, you know about the Reverend Bart gravity check. When something comes across a media format, radio, TV, podcast, whatever the fuck it is, that is so patently fucking unbelievable that it couldn't have possibly happened, I have a couple of things that I do. One is I jump off the ground with my hands above my head. Second, I will strike a Jedi pose and try to levitate. And occasionally, if it's really, really, really unbelievable, I just flap my arms like a bird. Yeah, I call it the Reverend Bart gravity check, because what happened was so fucking patently absurd and unbelievable that if I flap my arms or strike a Jedi pose and I leave the ground and float, I at least know that I'm dreaming. If I do the gravity check, flap the arms, hit the Superman of the Jedi pose, and I don't leave the ground, holy fuck, he really just said that stupid shit. Lo and behold, I did the gravity check. I remained on the ground. He legitimately said with a straight fucking face that the conspiracy theory about it being about Pfizer's profit margin is absurd because the vaccines are free. They are free in the same sense that free healthcare is going to be free, that free college education is going to be free, that defaulting on everybody's student loans, that's all going to be free. Everything's going to be free. Somebody is paying for it, Sparky. Every single dose that goes out is paid for by who? Paid for by the United States government. That's right. Uncle Sam and the Biden administration, they want to boast and thump their chest about everybody ought to get the vaccine because sinister Biden stalker whisper, and it's free. It's free. Uncle Sam's paying for every single dose, and every single dose that goes out puts money in Pfizer's pocket. You want the motivation? There it is. But this is the way it works. It's all circular. Getting back to AstraZeneca for a minute, the previous suspect. AstraZeneca is the lead sponsor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And of course, their entire emphasis is on mammograms, early detection. That is what they push. They don't mention a word about environmental factors. They don't mention a word about things to stay away from. And they do heavily promote early detection and, of course, take your tamoxifen citrate, Nolvadex. Some of my bodybuilders on this thing, some of my former juice runners will know about Nolvadex. It's the drug that bodybuilders take to keep from getting gynecomastia or bitch tits. It's an estrogen suppressor. Tamoxifen citrate, Nolvadex, is the only FDA-approved drug for the treatment of breast cancer. Guess who owns a patent on Nolvadex? That would be AstraZeneca. Guess what else AstraZeneca is involved in? They are one of the world's leading producers of organochlorines, which is a set of chemicals that is one of the leading contributors to breast cancer. This, according to the Sierra Club, not exactly a hotbed. This is back from when the left still remembered that excessive corporate power was still a bad idea. The Sierra Club, it's no mystery why prevention gets the silent treatment. The primary sponsor, AstraZeneca, manufactures the drug tamoxifen. It's Perry, Ohio chemical plant. Pay attention. Again, this is vault.sierraclub.org/Sierra/199909/cancer.asp if you want to look it up, or just Vault Sierra Club tamoxifen breast cancer. Figure it out. Google is free. Anyway, they manufacture the drug tamoxifen, and their Perry, Ohio chemical plant is the third largest source of potential cancer-causing organochlorine pollution in the United States, releasing 53,000 pounds of recognized carcinogen into the air in 1996. Now, this isn't, you're going to chalk this one up to a right-wing conspiracy theory? It's the fucking Sierra Club, all right? Greeny weenies, if ever there were. However, they're on point. When you're right, and facts are facts. And I don't care which side of the political aisle they're coming from. Again, once upon a time, the left recognized that chemical companies and powerful corporations having this much money was a bad fucking thing. Sierra Club clearly still recognized it for AstraZeneca. I couldn't find a policy statement on them for Pfizer. Anyway, I say all that to say this. AstraZeneca is the leading sponsor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Pfizer Pharmaceuticals this week, again, this is Jim Cramer, current corporate shill, Jim Cramer. Tamoxifen is the worst I've ever seen. Someone fighting tamoxifen turned her into a monster. Yeah, Mike, I absolutely believe that. I have no problem believing it. Here we have current corporate shill Jim Cramer. He's one of the people that after the White House had their little briefing on how the media needed to more favorably cover the Biden's outreach and economic programs, Cramer went on talking about how it was the greatest economy in 30 years. He was on the very next day. He's a corporate shill, and he always has been. Anyway, this is him promoting, hey, time to get in on Arena Pharmaceuticals because Pfizer is going to acquire this company for $6.7 billion. Do you know what Arena Pharmaceuticals does? As I briefly touched on at the beginning of this little presentation, Arena Pharmaceuticals treats primarily cardiac diseases, myocarditis, pericarditis, and a slew of other cardiac conditions, all of which just so happen to be the little publicized side effects of, wait for it, the fucking Pfizer vaccine. You have heard my position on quote-unquote conspiracy theories. No conspiracy theory is required. Money protects money and power protects power. That is just a self-evident fact. That is just a self-evident historical truth. Money protects money, power protects power. Currently, you have the power of the federal government and the disease mechanism, NIH, CDC, WHO. That is power. Protecting money, and that money is going to go back into the coffers of power. This is how it fucking works. AstraZeneca, that circular fucking business, we are producing the chemicals that are causing the breast cancer. We will not push a single goddamn thing about prevention because as soon as you get the fucking disease, we are the ones who have the treatment. We are repeating the exact same cycle with Pfizer. Get the vaccine, and the government's going to try to force you to get the vaccine, or at the very least, strongly encourage you to get the vaccine. Push the vaccines, and then here come the cardiac side effects. And it's okay because, number one, the records have been suppressed for 75 fucking years. Look that up. I'm not exaggerating. But we're going to get the cardiac side effects. Cardiac side effects that are now showing up in kids now that kids are able to be vaccinated. Cardiac side effects that are showing up in conditioned professional athletes Olympics in Europe, all the soccer players dropping dead on the fucking field of heart attacks after being vaccinated. Here come the cardiac side effects. But it's okay because, number one, Pfizer has no liability, courtesy of the United States government. They can't be sued. Even for a mandated vaccine, they can't be sued for any of the side effects. 36,000 plus dead now, by the way, according to VAERS. 36,000 plus dead of Pfizer vaccine side effects. They can't be sued. Not only can they not be sued, but when you get those cardiac side effects, guess who's got the drug to take care of you? That's right. Big Daddy Pfizer. And you just couldn't wait to let them stick it in. This is the way it works, boys and girls. This is absolutely the way it works. And again, media framing coming back to the usual. I looked on Google and then I looked on DuckDuckGo. And if you think that the algorithms aren't being straight up controlled by big tech to manipulate people's opinion, all right, first of all, you're fucking delusional. But let me just give you one more example for those in the back who probably can't be reached and never will be. I did a Google search. This was the search engine prompt: vaccine cardiac side effects. 4 words: vaccine cardiac side effects. First one that pulls down, cdc.gov, myocarditis and pericarditis. CDC are monitoring reports but continue to recommend vaccination for everyone 12 years of age or older. On down, heart inflammation and the rare side effects of the COVID-19 vaccine. Right under that, WebMD, young people recover quickly from rare heart side effect, and on down. It's a minimal side effect that hardly ever happens. When it does happen, you recover quickly. Do some research on myocarditis and pericarditis, particularly on pediatric cases. Find out how rare it was before kids started being vaccinated. Anyway, these were the entries that pulled down when I searched on Google. Same exact prompt on DuckDuckGo. Vaccine cardiac side effects. First one, what are vaccine side effects? And then immediately on myocarditis and pericarditis, side effect after COVID-19 vaccination. Next, from the NCBI, straight from the National Institutes of Health, cardiovascular adverse events reported from COVID-19. Now, this is from the National Institutes of Health, one of the government's own sources. So why didn't the Google algorithm throw that one at us? Hey, look, bad shit's happening. No. They threw us the one that was saying bad shit's happening, but it's super rare, and even when it does happen, you'll recover from it quickly. Again, on down on DuckDuckGo, heart inflammation, COVID-19, evidence, and this, they even pulled from, DuckDuckGo even pulled one from NBC News. NBC News, and I'm going to click on this link coming off of DuckDuckGo. This was from NBC News. Headline: evidence grows stronger for COVID vaccine links to heart issue, CDC says. This is NBC quoting from CDC's own study, right? And this pops up. So you have the CDC being quoted by a mainstream news source that there is a stronger and stronger evidence of links between the vaccination and cardiac side effects. And somehow or another, DuckDuckGo pulled it up, but Google search engine missed it. But they're not manipulating. They're not manipulating algorithms to steer people and control people's thoughts. No, sir. And any assessment, any assertion to that effect, well, that's just straight up tinfoil hat conspiracy talk. You're right there with Alex Jones talking about putting stuff in the water to turn the freaking frogs gay. Yeah. Total conspiracy nut job shit. Except there it is right in front of your fucking face. Another rabbit hole to go down another day. What I will say is there was a tweet that came out from Liz Wheeler this week that said 4 out of 5 COVID deaths in the UK the past month were from vaccinated people. Now, that was the tweet. And a lot of other blogs and a lot of other people managed to quote that. Joe Rogan gave it a mention in passing, including one of his guests who had been on before. He gave it a mention in passing. Berenson, first name, Dr. Berenson. Anyway, I'm having a brain fart. Could be a vaccine side effect. Yeah, like I never take the jab. Anyway, so Dr. Berenson was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's been on before. He was on last year about this time, and I remember listening to that podcast and ordering the guy's book. It was a phenomenal read. It was an amazing podcast. Certainly not as one with Dr. Certainly not as amazing or as insightful and informative as the one with Dr. McCulloch last week. Holy shit. But anyway, Berenson was on, and he mentioned that same thing that Liz Wheeler basically tweeted. 4 out of 5 COVID deaths in the UK the past month were from vaccinated people. And that seems like a factual enough statement because, well, it's a factual fucking statement. 4 out of 5 in the UK that died were vaccinated. And the first PolitiFact. How do you even leave fact in your fucking name, you lying scumbags? The first PolitiFact fact check, all right, what they attempted first was false. Big headline, false. Again, we've gone over this before, and I had an entire post devoted to media framing this week, right? False. Big fucking headline. Don't read past the headline. Don't worry about actually looking into it. Why did they mark it false? Well, the first one they attempted was, well, this doesn't apply to the UK. 4 out of 5 of the dead being vaxxed. 4 out of every 5 dying of COVID were vaccinated. That doesn't apply to the whole UK. It's just England. Wales and Scotland and Wales, Scotland, Ireland, totally different ball games. See, it doesn't apply to the whole UK, and therefore it's false. Okay, well, the fact checkers got checked on that, so then they go in and do their usual intellectual gymnastics. Here is the actual figure that Berenson quoted. Here we go. Critical stance on vaccines. They've been banned from Twitter, yada, yada, yada. Vast majority of people who died in September were fully vaccinated, Berenson said on the podcast. Presenting a Public Health England chart, he continues. Out of 1,500 cases, 1,270 out of 1,500 were fully vaccinated. 607 of the 70-year-olds out of 800 were fully vaccinated, and 258 out of the 411 60-year-olds were vaccinated. They were almost all fully vaccinated. Most people who die of this now are fully vaccinated in the UK, and those are the numbers. That is a factual fucking statement. Again, first they tried to say it didn't apply to the whole UK because it was only for England, and then they fished a little deeper, and when they did apply to the whole UK, the numbers were actually worse. So because that fact check wasn't going to work, they went with a different strategy, right? Well, the statement is true. Again, big headline false. They didn't change the headline to mostly false or mostly true or partial or inconclusive or any of the shit that Snopes used to juggle doing their intellectual gymnastics routine. No, what they did was they said, yes, the figure is accurate, but it makes sense because most of the population in England now is vaccinated. Okay, let me try this again. So because 70% of the population of England is vaccinated, it stands to reason that high a percentage, what was it, 5 out of 6? 5 out of 6, it stands to reason that 5 out of 6 of the people that are dying from it would be vaccinated people because most of the population is vaccinated. You might want to ask a few questions, Sparky, because the vaccine is what you told us was going to keep us from dying. It's what you told us. Oh, no, we never said that. It's what you told us was going to let us take our mask off and return to normal. It's what you told us was going to keep people from catching and transmitting the disease. That's what you told us. No, we never said that. It's a palliative care only. Okay. Well, far be it from me to quote one of those right-wing nut jobs, so I'll just give it to you in your own fucking words. Biden.
COVID if you have these vaccinations.
These vaccines are highly effective.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
They're really, really good against variants.
Everyone who takes the vaccine is not just protecting themselves, but reducing their transmission to other people and allowing society to get back to normal.
Get your first shot, and when you're due for your second, get your
CDC
second
director.
shot.
A key goal is to stop the transmission, to get the
Gates.
immunity levels up so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
If you're vaccinated,
Fauci,
you're not going to be hospitalized.
Biden.
You're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. If you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask.
Anyone who is fully
CDC
vaccinated
director,
can participate in indoor and outdoor activities, large or small, without wearing a mask or physical distancing.
But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission.
You know, we didn't have vaccines that block transmission. We got vaccines that help you with your health,
Gates.
but they only slightly reduce the transmission.
Slightly reduce the
New
transmission.
way of doing the vaccine.
The level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and infected is the same level as the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person.
Reports from our international colleagues, including Israel,
Zelensky again.
suggest increased risk of severe disease amongst those vaccinated early.
You'll get banned from Twitter for making these factual statements. You'll get banned from Twitter for quoting them in their own words. Every time I put one of these things on a sermon, I worry about losing one or more platforms, but I don't give a fuck anymore. That was from Luke Rudkowski of wearechange.org. Now, I have my own ideological differences with Rudkowski on a number of fucking issues. You can find that entire video on wearechange.org. It is the constant sliding goalpost. It is the constant shifting narrative. You can't get away from it. And they keep moving the goalposts, and they will continue to move the goalposts for as long as we continue to allow it. For those of you that missed it, let me close with this. This is a post that you will find from the fan page, but just in case you guys happen to miss it, good to see you there, G-Dub. I like that. Just in case you guys happen to miss it, I can't think of a perfect thing to close with. Because of the shifting narrative, because of the fact that they continue to move the goalpost, because of the fact that they can't even get their own goddamn story straight, but want to call us tinfoil hat nut jobs for thinking, hey, maybe I got some questions. All the false equivalencies, all the false comparisons. Oh, we have mandates for the smallpox vaccine. Yeah, I've still got my scar. If I'd have taken 3 smallpox vaccines in the space of fucking 6 months and I'd still gotten smallpox, I think my parents would have had a few questions. We have mandates for the polio vaccine. I don't remember the polio vaccine being handed to the doctor that my parents took me to when I was a child. They put the oral stuff on the sugar cube and gave it to me. I don't remember them saying to my parents, hey, you don't feel too secure. Your kid can still get polio and transmit it, but if he does get it, the good thing about this vaccine, he's just going to be way less crippled. All the false equivalencies, all the shifting goalposts, all the double standards, all the revisionist history. They can't even get their own goddamn story straight, but they want to make us out to be nut jobs for calling them on their bullshit when it comes. I'm going to close with this. This is a post from the fan page, and just in case you missed it, here are some factual statements. These are factual statements that certain social media platforms will ban you for, and eventually they're going to shut me down too. But in the meantime, what do we know? Spoken word is a strong fucking power. You take that word and you fucking spread it. The COVID survival rate, if you are unvaccinated, is 99.8%. This is CDC and NIH statistics, by the way. The COVID survival rate, if you're unvaccinated, is 99.8%. That includes the elderly. That includes predisposed people with comorbidities. It is 99.93% if you're under 65 years of age. It is 99.993% if you're under 45. It is even higher among children who rarely contract the disease at all. Over the course of the past week, at least 4 United States senators, fully vaxxed and boosted, tested positive for COVID in spite of their vaccine status. The 95% vaxxed National Basketball Association, the NBA, and the 100% vaxxed NHL are having massive outbreaks. And the president's response just before Christmas is to warn us all of a winter of disease and death, but only for the unvaccinated, see? And then go on to order everyone to get the jab. This is no longer rational behavior. It hasn't been rational behavior for a long time, truth be told. This is about fear. This is about compliance. This is about control. You can scare a free people badly enough, and they will beg for a dictator. And we are literally witnessing this process take place. Those of us who don't learn from the past are condemned to repeat it. Those of us who did learn from the past are condemned to watch while everybody else repeats it. But we are winning. And the pushback is underway, and the pushback is coming swiftly, and the pushback is strong. So don't be black-pilled. We are going to win. But be ready for that fucking fight, because I promise you, these people will not go easily. Knuckle up, bitches. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Appreciate you guys being here on another Sunday, especially right after Christmas. Merry Christmas to one and all. I will be here for the New Year. I'm going to be here in this little town in Oregon all by my lonesome on New Year's, and that'll be cool because I'm thinking about maybe doing a little special Ask Me Anything kind of pre-sermon sermon for New Year's. So putting that together along with a couple other things. I appreciate you guys being here again. I'm going to pass around that little digital collection plate. If anything that I threw at you was new information, changed your perspective, entertained you, irritated you, offended you, pissed you off, whatever, and you guys want to throw me a little coin because I was entertaining, or coin because you'd really like to shut me the fuck up. If you need me to shut up, the bar is going to be set a lot fucking higher. I do have my price. Everyone does, but mine is prohibitively expensive. However, if you found it entertaining, you want to throw me some coin, that would be fantastic. I'm on PayPal. I'm on Cash App. I'm on Zelle. I'm on Venmo. I'm on Facebook Pay. I'm on every goddamn thing. Whatever you want to throw me, however you want to throw it to me, I will certainly appreciate it. If you can't, or you're not inclined to, hey, man, that works too. I had no problem with that. One thing you can do to help me out is to get out there and spread that gospel. Tell people about it. Tell them, hey, man, there is a fat, toothless old cripple who gets up and rants and raves for an hour every Sunday. He's a like-minded, a kindred spirit. I think you might dig it. Turn him onto the program, and hopefully we'll have some more guys here ready for it. That'll be fun. And at the end of the day, you guys know what's important. All of my sinner sisters out there, oh, you're all beautiful, and I want to hold you all. And some of you want to grab your butts. All of my Reverend's Rangers, I might want to grab a couple of your butts. All of my Reverend's Rangers, my sinner sisters, my prophets of doom. You guys know, man. You guys already know the prime directives. Mike was kind enough to lay it down for me on an awesome gift, an awesome ornamental piece of woodwork that will hang proudly in the bark bunker. You should carry these words in your hearts. Always strive, guys, to be the signal in a world full of noise, to be the light in a world full of darkness, and always, this is the iron rule, to be that strength in a world full of weakness. Weakness doesn't serve anybody, and it's not going to serve you in the fight we have coming. So, you guys stay strong. Appreciate every one of you guys being here. Thank you for your support. You're making me feel like less and less of a lone voice in the wilderness. You guys show up every Sunday, man, and this is my therapy. At the end of the day, man, I'm just a crane operator with some opinions and not anybody's fucking guru. But I appreciate you guys digging on what I have to say and showing up Sunday after Sunday, day after day, month after month, and now year after year in this thing underway. I love you guys. Appreciate every single one of you, man. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. We will see you next Sunday. Peace. Thanks, guys.